troublemaker. I've been a late-night player. I've been broke as a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, lock, and stop and let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip-hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Enough jumps, the middle finger make my Jaeger just.
Hello and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this, January 14th, second week in January already. The year is already flying by, 2016. It's going to come and go.
Yeah.
I can feel it already.
We had that big snow this morning, which
I know, that was a little surprising. Dusting, light dusting, another dusting. We had a dusting the other day. They canceled some school stuff in the evening that night. That was a little, I don't know.
My hill was so white you could get snowblind.
Right. Anyways, it is early in January, so that means there's a lot of big-time football things to talk about. But first, let's say hello to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Broad Jr.
How are you, Scott?
I'm doing pretty well. How you doing there, Bob?
I'm doing well.
We got a very nice photo of you this week. We've been waiting to get this one up since early mid-December-ish. Out in New Milford you were with the flags and the wreaths. What was this day?
This is Wreaths Across America.
Wreaths Across America.
At 12 noon, the second Saturday of the month of December, we go and put wreaths on veterans' graves across the United States.
Very nice. Yes, I've seen you do this multiple years, and that was a very nice photo. That particular cemetery in New Milford, heading up into Litchfield area. That's a beautiful, very scenic area, very nice spot. So
we put out over 700
in that one cemetery.
Just that one cemetery.
Very nice. All right, Bob's Show Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9. Wednesdays at 12, we got our director, Mike Toohey, in the studio. Expose Cinema, his show Friday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 1. We'll be taping a show after we're done being live here tonight, so we'll see what he's got going on this week. And Mr. Mike McFadden is in studio. We have a different production assistant extraordinaire tonight.
Yeah.
The Sister Act this time. One Jenna Faco here, who did a very nice job helping us set up. I don't know if she can duplicate Connor's performance last night. I don't know if we want her to duplicate.
No. Connor's got.
Is Connor on a timeout?
Yeah, Connor's on a timeout for a couple weeks.
All right. Well, Jenna's filling in, and
yes.
I think so far filling in nicely. And the silent strange man is still silent and not even in studio, but have no fear, he did send me some stats of the week, and I've got one right off the bat.
Oh, what's the stat so far?
Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View, is the #1 show on Comcast Cable Channel 23 and Facebook.
All right.
Sports show, that is. I don't know if it's... Well, we know it's the #1 show on Channel 23.
Right.
Happens to be the only show. I don't know. He's saying Facebook as well. We do have some fans out there on Facebook, so maybe he's right. Yeah. Maybe he's right. We'll get to his other stats.
This week next week on Spotlight On, I got another one, summer show.
Oh, more concert shows.
Well, it's the J&B band from the 65th anniversary of Sycamore.
Oh, that really was good. Sycamore is a great place.
Yes.
And J&B band, very good too. All right, let's get right into it, Bob. We had a national championship go down this week, Monday night in college football. And Alabama, once again, ripping the hearts out of my family. I was definitely tuning in. I was pulling for Clemson. Probably not as hard as my family was. I know we've talked about my niece is a Clemson attendee, student right now. My dad lives down there near the school, been going to games for years. I've actually been to Clemson games. Very exciting, very Death Valley, great place to see a game. But it was Alabama, and really, Bob, they did it with special teams. I mean, they did it with big plays, but if you think about what took place in this game, blocked field goal at the end of the half, and oh, by the way, what was going on with the clock at the end of the half? Clemson got jobbed big time. Why can't the refs or the guys in the booth? College football has automatic reviews. They should be able to look at that because the clock kept running when it should not have. Forced them to call timeout. They could have run another one, maybe two plays, tried to score a touchdown. Instead, they had to rush get a field goal attempt, and it got blocked. Then in the fourth quarter, surprise onside kick when Bama had come back to tie it. They recovered that, set up the go-ahead touchdown, and then after they went ahead by that touchdown, Clemson came back with a field goal. Right after that, 95-yard kick return for a touchdown to put them back up 38-27 with 7 minutes left. Hats off to Clemson because they just kept coming. Despite the big plays, they kept coming. The final score, 45-40. They scored with
that was
12 seconds left to give themselves at least one chance at an onside kick of themselves and a Hail Mary. So, I mean, Clemson's certainly not to be embarrassed by what took place in this game offensively. Defensively, the big plays. I kind of felt like maybe, I don't want to be too harsh on them, but they kind of folded like a cheap tent in a moderate windstorm.
Is that a record for high?
I mean, for the points that went down in the fourth quarter were unbelievable.
Between two teams?
24-16 in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's a lot of points to be scored in a 15-minute stretch. And how about this? Clemson had won 51 straight games after leading through 3 quarters, and that they were in this game, in the title game, and they could not get it done. Clemson had 550 total yards in this game, and they lose. Deshaun Watson, 30-47 for 405 yards, 4 touchdowns. There we see the coach, Nick Saban, 4th title in 7 years at Alabama. He does it with bookend Heisman Trophy winners, Derrick Henry. Big game in this game, 158 yards, 3 touchdowns. And his first title at Alabama, he had Mark Ingram Jr., remember, in 2009. He also went back-to-back in 2011 and 2012. And then also his 5th title that he has in his career was won at LSU, the rival of Alabama, in 2003. He's one away from Bear Bryant, who has 6 titles. Of course, the legendary Bear Bryant of Alabama fame. Bear Bryant got his titles 1961, back-to-back 64 and 65, 1973, and then back-to-back again in 78 and 79. The other thing that killed him besides special teams, Clemson, how about the tight end? Who's this guy, O.J. Howard? He had done nothing all year, little used. I don't think he had more than 100 yards receiving on the season. He goes for 200-plus yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. Big injury to the cornerback for Clemson, Mackenzie Alexander, and that could have hurt them, especially in the second half when they were trying to come back after they blew the lead. They couldn't get any more stops, and Alabama kept scoring when they needed more stops because, I mean, like we said, Clemson kept scoring as well. But, Dabo Swinney led Clemson to this almost to the promised land. They were trying to win it for the first time since 1981. He was a former walk-on receiver for Alabama. So interesting for him, having been a former Alabama player, coaching against them here in this title game. I mean, it was a great job by Clemson all year long. I mean, think about this, Bob. They lost 9 starters on defense to the pros.
Right.
Guys that went professional playing in the NFL this year from last year's team. And they came back and were a top 10 defense. A couple of these injuries in this game, maybe they hurt them and they couldn't stop Alabama from converting those big plays and racking up the yards. But still, it was an exciting game, pretty well played. Things got a little crazy late. I would like to see Clemson's defense, who played so well all year, stand up, maybe get a stop here or there in that fourth quarter, but they could not do it, could not hold off Alabama. So it's Nick Saban. Of course, a lot of people say maybe now with his 5th title overall in 13 years, 12 years, and catching up to Bear Bryant, different era. You try to compare eras, it's tough to do, but some people saying he might be the best coach of all time at this point, saying that maybe it's tougher now. Some people say it's tougher easier now because there's more teams getting into the playoffs, and you don't have to necessarily go undefeated. I mean, he has never gone undefeated with his championships, which is interesting.
I mean, look at how many bowl games we have. It's like 30-some bowl games.
So that's for other guys to debate. I'll just say it was a pretty good game. And I was rooting for Clemson, obviously. So I'm a little saddened. I know my family was upset. They thought they were going to win this one. They were all rallying around it. Group text messages. Gotta love that. Phone blowing up all over the place.
They must have been running up and down the.
Personally, I was busy watching the Bruins and the Rangers for much of the first half, which I shouldn't have been doing the way that game ended. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
All right, let's stick with football, though, as we're going to keep this thing moving, stay on track like we did not do last week. We're going to try to actually do a real show this week.
Well, you're feeling better than you were last week.
I'm feeling better, yeah. Still can't shake the cold entirely, but I am feeling better. So NFL, let's break it down. We'll give you the matchups for this weekend. Saturday's slate of games. Kansas City Chiefs, winners of 11 in a row, heading to New England for the early game, 4:35, going up against the Patriots as after they just destroyed the Texans 30-0 in that game. First win for Kansas City in the playoffs since, 1993? Who was leading them then? Joe Montana and Marcus Allen.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. They have not won a single game, however, in New England since 1990. Kansas City hasn't. They're going to have to do that in the playoffs. But remember last year, that huge blowout on Monday night knocked the Patriots to 2-2. Everybody said Brady was done. The Patriots were done. Offensive line couldn't protect Brady. I've been hearing a lot of that same commentary this week. Offensive line can't protect Brady. And that was it. The Patriots were all done. What happened last year after that?
Well, they went
on a huge winning streak, got themselves number one seed, made it to the Super Bowl, and oh, by the way, won that.
Yeah.
Let's not forget the Patriots are the defending champions, by the way, and they will be taking on the Chiefs Saturday. Former Evil director Kevin Gallagher, I don't know what he's going to do because he claims, because he used to be a Patriots fan.
Oh, really?
He disowned them because of some legalities in the sale to Robert Kraft in the early 90s.
Right.
We don't want to get into that because Kevin and I had a big argument once about that.
One time Patriots are going to move to Hartford, which never happened.
Right. He calls them the severed heads now, and he claims to have never watched a Patriots game again.
Well, that's
I don't know. Does that mean he's not going to be able to watch his Chiefs in the playoffs? He's been texting me like crazy in the Chiefs games lately, especially in that playoff game. And how about this? Chiefs 106-yard kickoff return to start that game against Houston. 5 turnovers in that game. Their number one receiver, there we see, what was that, Lil Wayne?
Lil Wayne?
I didn't even know he still was performing.
Right.
I don't know. Houston going old school hip hop for the show, but that was pretty much the only entertainment they had in that game.
I have a few guys from the Firehouse are supposed to be going up on Sunday. Yeah, so I told them dress warm.
We'll see what happens if Kansas City, because they are a little bit limited on offense. Jeremy Maclin went down with a knee injury. They think maybe he's going to play, but he's going to be limited. And are the Patriots going to be healthy? I don't understand why nobody checks the reports out of practice. I've been telling everybody that Julian Edelman's been practicing for 4 weeks now in full. Don't pay no mind to the fact that they didn't play him the last 3 weeks of the season. That was by design. Also, Gronkowski has been limited in what they've been doing on the field with him in games after he banged up his knee, but they've been protecting him, I think. And Amendola as well, limited, but he's been playing in and out a little bit. These guys are all practicing, all healthy. I believe the running game has some issues.
Right.
And Kansas City's defense is very good. I think it's going to be a good game. I would be worried if I were Kansas City about how many people are on the bandwagon.
Right.
I don't know. And we know that Mikey Dreadlock Rasta, a.k.a. Fatty Roots, he said, Chiefs no fear 'em, paleface. That's his quote to me. I'll be watching the game with him.
It just says, here it is. See this?
I told him Patriots muskets like to shoot down the Chief arrows. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a good time on Saturday watching that game with him. Things should get very interesting. Saturday night, Packers at Cardinals, Arizona, rematch of a game that took place just a couple weeks ago when Green Bay got crushed 38-8. That's the 8:15 game. Packers 4-6 down the stretch to finish their season. I should mention the Patriots were 2-4 down the stretch and losing their final 2 as well. Worst end of a season in the Belichick era, so they're going to have to overcome that. But the Packers at the Cardinals, 13-3, probably one of the quietest 13-3s you'll see. I like Arizona in this game.
I do too.
What's McFadden thinking in there? Was he got any predictions
what do you think
yet?
about the...
I'll keep talking while you hear what he says. But I will mention the Packers did lose that game to Arizona 38-8 a couple weeks ago. But they did bounce back after a horrible first quarter.
Yeah, what do you think of the Arizona game?
Against the Redskins on Sunday afternoon, where they were losing 11-0. Very strange score there. They should have been 16-0, however, because the Redskins, if you recall, Deshaun Jackson did not get into the end zone.
Okay.
And do we got any predictions?
What's your prediction? Is Arizona?
Who's he like? I just want an answer.
Who do you like?
Packers. He likes Arizona. That's who I thought he might say Arizona. What does he think about the Chiefs-Patriots?
What do you think of Chiefs-Patriots?
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I would think it's going to be close, too. Is he leaning one way or the other?
Which way are you leaning toward? Leaning toward the Patriots.
Leaning Patriots. All right. Kansas City, I think we'll give them a hard time. All right, Packers, I guess that Redskins. Redskins should have been up 16-0, Bob. Deshaun Jackson had an easy touchdown, but he didn't put the ball over the end line. And then from the half-yard line, 3 straight plays, they can't get it in the end zone. They settle for a field goal. Then they miss an extra point when they come down and score a touchdown on the next drive. So it's 11-0 instead of 16-0. All of a sudden, Green Bay catches fire.
Right.
And they go, 17 straight in the second quarter to go up 17-11 at the half. Redskins score 1 to start the second half, and then that was it. The Green Bay outscored them 35-7 after they were down 11-0, so they ran away with it. Kirk Cousins, I think I heard the stat, 0-26 in his career against teams with winning records. Yeah. Never beaten a team with a winning record.
That's got to be a record.
That is nuts. I mean, it was a great season, I think, by the Redskins. They looked good early in this game, but they could not hold on. Green Bay now gets to try to get some revenge against Arizona after that beatdown a couple weeks ago. All right, but the game Saturday night, as we get looking at who's going to be playing on Sunday, Steelers get the late game at Broncos.
And I think Big Ben is questionable.
After Saturday night's game, this game was unbelievable. Torrential downpour in Cincinnati. Steelers go up 15-0. The fans start throwing debris onto the field.
Yeah.
Where was Sam Weich when you need him? Remember that time he got on the microphone?
Yeah.
And he was like, "We don't live in Cleveland.
Right.
Behave better."
Yeah.
Cincinnati fans weren't listening to that at all as they were throwing stuff on the field in the rain down 15-0. Looked like this was going to be another automatic loss in the playoffs for the Bengals. But wait a second. With the backup QB, AJ whatever his name is, he comes in and he rallies them to a 16-15 lead.
Yeah.
And then Burfitt, the man who loses his mind on a regular basis, said during the week, and this is what I was worried about, he was clearly out of his mind and still thinking about the emotional aspect of it, saying how much he hated the Steelers. We saw what happened in the games earlier in the year when they had fights before the game, during the game, and after the game. He gets the interception after sacking Roethlisberger and knocking him out of the game, at least temporarily. It looks like he's going to be the hero. But no, Cincinnati fumbles the ball on the first play after the interception when they're looking to run the clock out and win this game, gives Pittsburgh the ball, and then what happens? He commits the headshot where he knocks, Antonio Brown out. They get the illegal contact, 15-yard penalty, which puts them on the edge of field goal position. Then Pac-Man Jones loses his mind. You get a second penalty, and now 30 yards worth of penalties puts Pittsburgh in field goal range. The rain stops for 30 seconds. The kicker comes out and kicks a field goal. My question to you, however, Bob, is why was Joey Porter allowed on the field, a coach for the Steelers, to get in the mix with the Bengals players during that scrum? Why was he not penalized? Why was there not offsetting penalties with Pac-Man Jones? Why was Cincinnati given that second penalty without Pittsburgh getting one for Joey Porter mixing it up with play? He's a coach, Bob. How can a coach go on the field and mix it up with players and not be repercussions for that?
I know.
That is unreal. And Pittsburgh fans, spare me this. They're saying Cincinnati, the dirtiest team in the league. You had 2 coaches involved. Earlier in their game, they had a coach pull on the hair of a Cincinnati player from the sideline, and he was not penalized. And you're saying that Cincinnati is dirty? We all know Pittsburgh is one of the dirtiest teams in the league. They just got away with it in this game. and they go on to win 18-16. Cincinnati 0-7 in the playoffs under Marvin Jones. He had to be absolutely beside himself as this game fell apart with the penalties. Unreal. They have not won a playoff game since Boomer Esiason was there in 1990. Unbelievable. Now they get to face Steelers Denver in Denver Sunday afternoon at 4:40. Roethlisberger's banged up. Antonio Brown, their leading receiver, is in the concussion protocol. Of course, Pac-Man Jones says he is absolutely going to play, and that Antonio Brown winked at him on the field after the play when he went down. He said he faked it all the way. If Antonio Brown plays, that could be proof in the pudding right there that is true. We will see about that as well. And remember, the Steelers did beat Denver on December 20th. They rallied in the second half. Remember, they were down big in the first half. They came behind. But there was no Peyton Manning in that game. Now Denver is turning back to Manning. The other game on Sunday.
Which was
Oh, man. Well, the game that's going to be taking place this Sunday sees Seattle at Carolina. Another rematch from earlier in the year, Week 6, when Carolina beat Seattle in Seattle 27-23. Another ending to this game. Minnesota, speaking of the sickest man in America, Blair Walsh. All right, we got a stat of the week on this one from Strange Man. Coldest game, third coldest game in the history of the NFL. The temperature on the field dipped to 0 degrees before what should have been the game-winning 27-yard field goal. With the wind chill factor 25 below in this game. And here's another Strange Man stat of the week. 27-yard field goal. He missed it. Minnesota loses. Seattle wins miraculously. Here's the stat. 97% of 27-yard field goals in the last 7 years have been made by kickers.
Is Minnesota should have went for. They were 4-1, 4th and 1. Went for the.
No, they got to kick the ball there, Bob. It's 4th down. If it was 3rd down, they almost got the first down on that play. They were punching it in. They moved the ball to the left hash mark.
But I'm just thinking if they had went for it.
Think about this. For one fleeting second, the thought did cross my mind. Anderson's missed kick. Remember in 97, 96 against Atlanta in the championship game. They were 15-1 that year.
Reminds me of a Super Bowl that.
And he had not missed a kick. He had not missed a kick all year long. This year, Blair Walsh, the Blair Walsh Project, he made more field goals this season than any other kicker in the league. He misses the 27-yarder. Here's another stat of the week. Strange Man says he's the fastest kicker ever to change his name and move away. I don't know if that actually happened, but Strange Man says it did.
All right,
those are the football things. We're probably running out of time. What do we got, about 5 minutes?
We got
6, 7 minutes, 5 minutes. All right, NBA.
5 minutes.
Finally, my Celtics got a big win last night. I tuned into this one, 103-94. Big run to end the game against the Pacers, Indiana. They had a stretch, Bob. They were down by 3 points, 3 straight possessions, 3 steals, 3 fast breaks, 6-0 run. That was quite impressive. And then they held on, made their shots down the stretch. So they win that one. After losing 5 of 6, 3 straight at home, they are now 20-19 on the outside looking in that competitive Eastern Conference right now. I believe they're in 9th place. And I mean, we were going to get to this last week. We really didn't. It all started with that LA Fake Show game when the fans disgraced themselves by cheering for Shobi Defiant and the Fake Show as Kobe came to town for his final time in Beantown. Don't Boston fans know that it's the Lakers we're talking about here? I don't care if it's his last time or not. I don't care if he's an all-time great. I'm not going to get into it, but there is that incident that nobody wants to talk about when they go out and cheer for him every night on his farewell tour that happened in Eagle, Colorado. Ask the girl out there what happened on that night. All you people that get up and cheer for Shobi on his farewell tour. And Boston fans, beside that, you know, when we talk rivalries, we all know Red Sox, Yankees, but the Lakers, Celtics is just as big, and Bruins, Canadians as big as that. So I was very disappointed in that, and that's where this losing streak started. Hopefully Celtics turn it around. They did lose to the Knicks as well, 120-114, in what was an absolute disgrace of a defensive performance. Knicks actually been playing hot, 6-2 in their last 8.
And then, of course, last night, what'd they do?
Lose to the Nets. Hello, Brooklyn. 110-104. It was a battle of the Lopez brothers, and Brooke Lopez got the better of a Robin in this one. Knicks 20-21. In the East, Bob, Cavs 27-9. Number 2 is Toronto at 24-15. 9 other teams within 6 games of the number 2 seed, with the Knicks being that final team at 21 losses. So 15 losses by Toronto, 21 by the Knicks, with 8 teams in between them. Bulls, Hawks, Pacers, Heat, Pistons, Magic, Celtics, Wizards, Hornets. All right, we'll skip over the NBA Western Conference. We'll just say the Warriors 36-3, 18-0 at home, but the Spurs also 22-0 at home. Bruins in the NHL. Another stat of the week by Strange Man. We're getting them all this time, Strange Man, even though he is the silent one. The Bruins got their 3,000th win the other night. Even though they're 2-7-1 in their last 10, but they did get that 3,000 win, which makes them the winningest franchise in the NHL in the United States. Because we all know the hated Les Habitants Montreal Canadiens have the most wins ever in the NHL, but they reside in Canada, not the United States. So that is a little stat that he squeaked in. What's that?
You didn't have any of the big numbers last night, did you?
I do not believe we had any of the big numbers. I think I would have been notified of that.
We wouldn't be here tonight.
Well, no, we'd still do the show. Come on. Bruins lost blew third period leads in back-to-back games, blowing a 2-1 lead against the Flyers last night to lose 3-2, and a 1-0 lead against your Rangers, Bob, 2-1. Your Rangers still struggling, though. 4-5-1 in last 10. Islanders 5-5-0 in last 10. Both those teams have 51 points. Bruins tied with the Devils for 8th seed, 47 points. And Ottawa, Pittsburgh, Philly, Carolina, all within 2 points of that 8th seed. So very tight in the Eastern Conference in the NHL as well. Capitals are the top team at 67 points. How about Ovechkin? Bob got his 500th goal. I think he did that in the Rangers game, did he not?
Yes, he did.
And how about this, though? Another stat. Jaromir Jagr still going strong. He's leading the Panthers to first place in the Atlantic Division with 57 points, and I think he pulled into a tie for third all-time on the goal-scoring list with Brett Hull. So pretty good for him. UConn basketball tonight at Tulsa as we were running out of time. No love for the AAC, Bob. Only one team ranked. UConn and Memphis, Houston, none of these teams are even getting votes anymore, Bob. We're not even getting votes. We're 11-4. UConn won 7 out of their last 9. Nice win over Memphis the other night at 81-78. Sterling Gibbs had a huge game.
Okay, time to write bye-bye.
Jenna is saying the show is over. If Jenna says so, then that means it is time to go. Thank you, Jenna, for doing such a great job and helping out. We'll see who's here next week helping us then. Maybe she'll be back.
We'll be taping the game show next week? Or
no, we're live again next week.
Okay.
All right. We will see you then. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll be right back.